Hollywood certainly isn't the easiest place to make it, and even if you do get lucky and catch a break, your staying power isn't necessarily guaranteed. Countless stars have fallen out of the public's good graces, either because of their own personal scandals or simply because of their declining popularity. From former child stars to famed singers and athletes, some celebs have chosen to trade in their fame and fortune for regular old day jobs. But to their credit, some of them have really made a decent name for themselves in other fields. Keep watching to find out about what some of these former stars are up to these days, and how they're earning a living now that they've departed from the blinding spotlight of stardom. Eve Plumb. She was just 12 years old when she landed her breakout role as Jan Brady on The Brady Bunch. The beloved 70s television sitcom was a huge hit. It ran for 5 seasons and produced a handful of spin-offs, as well as an insane amount of merchandise and collectibles. During her heyday, Eve Plumb was one of the most famous child stars around. These days, Plumb still occasionally makes an on-screen appearance, albeit rarely, but she has, for the most part, retired from acting. In the 90s, she began a new career as an artist and painter. She now owns and operates her own studio and gallery in New York City. Peter Ostrum. The world may know him as Little Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but did you know the iconic film was Ostrum's one and only big screen credit? Ostrum went back to his hometown in New Jersey after the film and finished high school, leaving behind his acting career. In truth, he really didn't feel that thrilled about being a performer, so when he saw his opportunity to take a different path, he seized it. Ostrum has attended various reunions with his former Wonka co-stars throughout the years, and no doubt he was welcomed with open arms as a guest of honor. But the former child actor spends most of his time working as a licensed and practicing veterinarian. He attended veterinary medical school at Cornell and lives in upstate New York. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And stick around to find out whatever happened to that nerdy guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You know the one. George Foreman. Back in the day, Foreman made quite a name for himself as the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He's also proudly an Olympic gold medalist. George retired from the sport in 1998 with 76 wins under his belt. He went on to become quite the entrepreneur. In the early 2000s, he proved he could come up with a marketable idea when he launched his ridiculously successful George Foreman line of countertop grills, with a little help from the housewares company Salton. KARYN Parsons. You might recognize KARYN as Hilary Banks from the 90s sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where she shared the soundstage with megastar Will Smith. That was her breakout role, but it was also one of her only roles. Due to her fame from the hit show, she did get the chance to appear in a few films like Major Payne and The Ladies' Man before stepping out of the limelight to move on to bigger and better things. After the show wrapped in '96, KARYN shifted her focus towards philanthropic endeavors. Today, she serves as the founder of a nonprofit organization called Sweet Blackberry. The registered 501c3 is dedicated to teaching children stories from African American history. She's also picked up the pen and let her creative juices flow by authoring a children's book called How High the Moon. Peter Billingsley. He stole the world's hearts when he starred in the classic holiday comedy A Christmas Story, so it makes sense that Billingsley didn't hang up those oversized glasses after appearing in that film. He continued to act on TV and in a variety of different films for a number of years. The ex-child star did eventually step aside from acting, opting to instead do behind-the-scenes work. Nowadays, Peter fancies himself a producer and director. He's known for joining forces with his close friend Jon Favreau on projects such as The Breakup, Couples Retreat, and Iron Man. HENN. At 10, HENN scored her first acting role in the science fiction film Aliens, playing the character Newt. She acted alongside Sigourney Weaver, but the role was one of her few on-screen appearances before deciding Hollywood wasn't her scene. She made an appearance in 2016 at Comic-Con, serving as a panelist with her fellow Aliens co-stars to discuss the film. But other than that, the former child star has mostly been absent from the public eye. Instead, she's chosen to pursue a career in education and works as a teacher in Northern California. MACGRAW. After getting her start as a fashion model in the 1970s, MACGRAW became one of the most pervasive faces of the decade. Her stardom was set in stone by the 1969 film Goodbye Columbus, which she won an Academy Award for. Later on, she appeared in the film Love Story. After spending a significant chunk of her life working in the entertainment industry, MACGRAW became a yoga instructor. But in the 90s, she tapped into her lingering star power by releasing a series of yoga workout instructional videos, which sold fairly well. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Here's a man that needs no introduction, but the Austrian weightlifter turned actor made a name for himself on the Mr. Universe circuit in the 70s. After creating quite a stir when he burst onto the LA Muscle Beach scene, Schwarzenegger developed a promising film career and was the star of the blockbuster Terminator movie franchise. After stepping aside from the acting world, he went into politics. In 2003, Schwarzenegger was elected governor of California. He served in that role until 2011. Mike VITAR. We first became acquainted with Mike as Benny the Jet Rodriguez, and we've never looked at chewing tobacco the same way. Mike starred in the hit film The Sandlot in 1993. After the film enjoyed a successful run at the box office and in the home video market, he made an equally iconic appearance in the 90s film The Mighty Ducks. Mike eventually realized the life of a star wasn't exactly his cup of tea, and he went on to become a firefighter. Since 2002, he's been a public hero working for the LA Fire Department. In 2015, however, he was involved in a pretty intense exchange when some mothers asked a resident named Samuel Chang to stop giving out candy at their homes. Mike and a number of his neighbors approached and assaulted Chang. The angry mob, led by VITAR, accused Chang of handing out drug-laced candy, which proved to be untrue. Chang experienced cardiac arrest during the confrontation and had to be resuscitated. Mike and company were sued in criminal court and subsequently ordered to shell out $7.2 million in damages. Rick Moranis. He was once, as you may remember, the star of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but before that he appeared in the sketch comedy series Second City Television. Moranis also had notable credits in films like Spaceballs, Ghostbusters, and Little Shop of Horrors. Eventually, he shifted focus to his family. He became a stay-at-home dad, dedicating his time to his 2 children as a widower. After a nearly 23-year hiatus from films, he recently signed on to appear in the new sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids called Shrunk. Filming will begin in early 2022, although it was originally planned to begin in 2020, but of course, COVID-19 complicated that like so many other projects. Danny Lloyd. Danny Lloyd is best known for his role as Danny Torrance in the 1980 horror film The Shining, which was based on the 1977 Stephen King novel of the same name. Lloyd retired from acting at age 10. His last role was as the young G. Gordon Liddy in the TV film Will, G. Gordon Liddy. In 2004, he became an associate professor at the Department of Biology at Elizabethtown Community and Technical College in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. He's been an educator ever since and seems to enjoy the role. ERIK Estrada. Estrada played the lead role as California Highway Patrol Frank Llewellyn Ponch Poncherella in the police drama TV series Chips, which ran from 1977 to 83. He went on to become a well-known Spanish-language telenovela star. Estrada became a reserve police officer for the Muncie, Indiana Police Department. He then moved to Virginia, where he was an Internet Crimes Against Children investigator for 8 years in Bedford County, Virginia. He's currently a reserve police officer in St. Anthony, Idaho. Tommy Rettig. In the 50s, Rettig was famous for being the adorable boy, Jeff Miller, whose canine sidekick was the ubiquitous Lassie. He was the human star of that show from 1954 to 57. He went on to co-star with another former child star, Tony Dow, a.k.a. Wally Cleaver, from Leave It to Beaver, in the 1960s teen soap opera Never Too Young. After leaving Hollywood, Rettig got himself into a bit of trouble with some well-publicized run-ins with the law related to illicit drug charges. In the 70s, he became a motivational speaker. For the last 15 years of his life, he worked as a database programmer, author, and computer expert. Sadly, he passed away in 1996 at age 54 from a heart attack. Now it's time to hear from you. Which former star do you think should have continued acting, and why? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.